Let's get to some news that already came in with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, remember, here's the issue, right? He struggled to stay healthy in San Francisco, but has been productive when on the field. The Raiders are hoping that's what they get. Since joining the 49ers in 2017, he posted a 38-17 record, the fifth highest win percentage of any QB with at least 30 starts over that span. He's also posted the league's third highest completion percentage and the most yards per attempt. But to be fair, he's averaged the most yards after the catch per completion, so some of that has to do with who you're throwing it to, the scheme, all that jazz. Mina, does this move of Garoppolo going to the Raiders make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean, there's like signings that make you scratch your head, signings you love. This kind of falls in the middle for me. It just feels logical. It's not overwhelming. It's something that a lot of us thought might be likely, largely because of the connection between him and, of course, head coach Josh McDaniels. He had some success with McDaniels, granted in a very, very small sample size in New England, but the marriage between the coach and the quarterback makes sense. I think where it gets interesting and where this is up for debate is less about the player and more about the timeline. Specifically, as a Raiders fan, if you wanted your team to draft a rookie quarterback, to go up and get a rookie quarterback, as we just heard about, I think you can still do that with Jimmy Garoppolo, but the Raiders are probably more comfortable now just sitting at 7, seeing if a guy falls to them, or potentially waiting till next year. And that, to me, also makes sense, given how much teams have had to give up to go and get quarterbacks.
Yeah, I see you want to say something. I think this is most beneficial for Indy, who sits at number 4. Mm-hmm. Now that Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the Raiders, they're no longer likely to jump Indy, and Indy needs a quarterback. So I think that's one of the big things that comes out of this signing. I have kind of 2 questions or points. Number 1, we don't really know who Jimmy Garoppolo is outside of Kyle Shanahan. Again, he played a little bit, to Mina's point, early on in New England, but a lot of quarterbacks that play for Kyle play really well. So that's the big question mark, is who's he going to be outside of the, Marcus calls it insulated, like the cocoon of Kyle Shanahan. And the second thing is this, for the Raiders, the reality, and we called their Week 18 game against the Chiefs, their defense is so decimated by a lack of talent that while I would have loved for them to get a young quarterback, this is probably better for the long play of their football team that they can address with that early draft pick and some of the draft picks it would have costed to go get the number 1 slot.
I think the Raiders made their play for a quarterback in this draft last week on the day that the Bears traded that pick away. They were one of the many teams that checked in with Chicago and explored a trade-up. And ultimately, Chicago traded with Carolina. And the Raiders, for a number of reasons, didn't move up to number 1. And so when they were sitting there at 7 and didn't get the ability or the chance to move up to number 1, they said, we love Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's not waste any more time. Josh McDaniels worked with him in New England. He knows our offensive system. We believe in him as a quarterback. We're not going to go up any further than to the number 1 pick in this draft to pick the quarterback that we would have wanted at a steep price. It didn't happen, so we're going to cast our lot in the next direction.
But it still keeps them third in the division. That's just the reality, is it still keeps them behind Kansas City and the Chargers at best.
Tough division, man.
Right,
totally. Go ahead.
But I also don't know what rookie you would have got that we thought would jump them dudes either. Like, I mean, just looking at what you have defensively for the Las Vegas Raiders. The other thing is, y'all know that meme when the dude holding hands with his girlfriend and he look back and he see another lady walking? That's what this situation is.
We love that one.
It's comfortable. Like what you just said, Schefter, what Mina alluded to. Josh McDaniels knows Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo built his chops of getting the type of contract he got from San Francisco because of what he did in the injury year with Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels. So this is not – I think the Las Vegas Raiders sit here right now feeling like they won a free agent situation with a quarterback. You think about what we waiting on and the things that we thinking about with Lamar and obviously Aaron, they got a guy with a lot of talent around him that's played at a very high level at times.
Again, we got Adam Schefter at the desk. If anything happens with Aaron Rodgers, you will know it here first.
How do I refresh my timeline while you sitting right here?
Set up tweet alerts from Adam.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.